Now that Pokémon Legends ZA has been out for almost 2 weeks, I can confidently say that I love it. I have been having such a blast playing through the main story and doing some shiny hunting on the side. So today I've decided to draw my lovely party of alternately colored Pokémon as people. I'll be designing them all individually and then drawing a group illustration at the very end, so stick around to see how that turns out. First off, allow me to introduce you to Lety, the Clefable. I caught her as a Cleffa on day 1 of my playthrough, making her the first official member of the team. For her design, I wanted to take elements from both her Mega and regular forms. She has a beret and long gradiented sleeves that end in points, to mimic the hair and wings of Mega Clefable. I also gave her cross or X-shaped lacing on her socks and top. I also gave her lace accents to sell the cutesy look and add more round shapes to her design. Her hair is worn in 2 pigtails that stick upwards like Clefable's ears, with green coloring at the tips for that shiny flair. Because Clefable is a stocky and relatively short Pokemon, I made her petite, with a pear-shaped body. Lety actually isn't the smallest member of my team, however. Although I didn't follow the official Pokemon heights exactly, as that would be a bit too much for some of my team members, I tried to keep the rough order of heights in mind while drawing. Next up is the Baron, my shiny Pyroar. While Lety was the first member of the team, the Baron would be the oldest in terms of the age I've chosen to depict him as. I mean, just look at Pyroar's face and tell me he isn't a distinguished older gentleman. For his design, I actually drew it twice, primarily because I wasn't happy with the anatomy and posing of my first attempt. In that drawing, the Baron looks much younger, and doesn't have as much of his signature Pyroar mane, being clean-shaven. In its place, I chose to give him a red cravat with a yellow stripe. In both drawings, he wears a tan suit jacket with beige accents around the collar and cuffs. To mimic Pyroar's fur tufts, I gave his boots, cuffs, and the hem of his jacket a jagged edge design. He carries a cane, and his hair is red with yellow highlights striped throughout. In his finalized design, he has a long beard that is tied at the bottom to resemble the shape of Pyroar's tail tip, and he's resting on his cane instead of simply carrying it. He has a small build, which is accentuated by his hunched posture, being just a little bit taller than Lety. Third up is Hanaco the Excadrill. I caught her on the same day as the Baron, and like his, it took me a couple of tries to get Hanaco's design to my liking. Although this time it was less of a posing issue and more of an over-designing issue. During the first attempt of her artwork, I tried giving her a blacksmith's smock to mimic the triangle on Mega Excadrill's belly. I also initially gave her a hijab with large gloves. The design turned out feeling lacking in cohesion to me, with the shape language feeling inconsistent, so I copied over the parts I liked and started fresh on the ones I didn't think fit. I turned her hijab into a cropped hoodie and did away with the apron in favor of having the hoodie partially unzipped to give that triangular shape to her midsection. I also gave her scarring on her belly, like the slash markings on Excadrill. Both her hoodie and her harem pants have teal diamond-shaped patches over the elbows and knees, and I carried this color over to the metal elements of her design, her boots and weaponry. Hanaco is the smallest member of the team, with Excadrill's height listed at a surprisingly small 2'11", and that's in its larger Mega form. Of course, in her human form she's not quite that short. Next up, we have Turnip the Victory Bell, who was another early addition to my team, found as a Bellsprout while I was shiny hunting for Venipede in Zone 5. His design came much more naturally to me. Mega Victory Bell is quite round, so I made him a pudgy fellow, although I followed the height of regular Victory Bell more so in deciding his proportions, as its Mega form is far too tall for my liking, at nearly 15 feet tall. I gave him a yellow poncho with a purple collar to represent both Victory Bell's mouth and leaves. I carried the purple trim over to his loose pants as well as his headband, which has 2 tooth-like protrusions sticking out at the top. As a nod to Victory Bell's prominent lips, I decided to give Turnip Head's human form vitiligo that goes around his mouth. This also serves as a nod to the speckling patterning on the Pokemon's body. His necklace is doubled up around his neck like Mega Victory Bell's vines, with a leaf stone pendant dangling from it. He's a chill kind of guy, if a bit odd, and no footwear screams chill but odd more than socks with sandals. Especially with mismatched socks. Moving on to the 5th team member, we have Soot, Sprite the Scolipede. Now at this point, some of you may have noticed the naming theme I've been using for my first playthrough, and I would love to see your guesses in the comments. I found Soot Sprite late into my playthrough as a fully evolved Pokemon, so while I don't have any baby photos of her, I still think she's super cool. Soot Sprite's design was perhaps the most straightforward for me. I gave her a long puffer jacket to resemble the segmenting on Scolopede's body, complete with cyan circles present on each segment. She wears a sleek black dress with long slits cut down the sides for a fitting femme fatale energy, as well as to mimic Scolopede's dark underbelly. She has a striped scarf, which is tied in the back to carry through the shape of Scolopede's jagged horns. Her heeled boots are red with black belting, like the patterning on Scolopede's feet. I gave her a black bob with V-shaped bangs to continue the angular shapes of the overall design, and to represent Scolopede's mouth area. She's certainly one of the tallest members of the team, if not the tallest when you count her heels. Last, but certainly not least, is Fujimoto the Malamar. I found him during my first visit into the sewers, within surprisingly few encounters. This was definitely lucky, as the runaway method for shiny hunting in ZA isn't the fastest one out there, especially with only 2 Inkei to reset at a time. I wanted to give him a different look to the Mega Malamar design from my previous video, so I leaned more into Malamar's base form for this one. Fujimoto has wavy golden hair, with a tentacle-like shape, and light yellow highlights. He wears a unique olive green jacket with a large pink collar and light green sleeves with attached to his middle fingers. His pants are jodhpurs in white, which mimic the shape of Malamar's lower fins, and he also wears similarly old-fashioned shoes. I gave him goggles over his head with white casing and yellow lenses. He's a lanky man with a mischievous grin on his face and a confident pose. He's the tallest member of the team, not counting Soot Sprite in her heels, with Malamar's megaform being very noodly indeed. For the group illustration, I decided to use a screenshot from within the game as the background. Having just completed the main story of the game and being sent back to my hotel room, I decided that this would be a fitting location to draw the party in. I started by sketching out the poses for each character, positioning them within the scene. Turnip Head is resting on the bed while having a conversation with Soot Sprite, who stands in front of him, also in the background. Lety is jumping up on the bed, as a nod to her lion's wings and the super cute jumping animation Clefable does when it's happy. Hanaco is also playing around, running away from Lety while looking back towards her with a grin. The Baron is waving his cane at the pair, as if to say, "No roughhousing indoors, you whippersnappers!" While Fujimoto stands in the foreground, taking a photo of the scene with a playful wink. I sketched in all of the characters' details, making sure they overlapped in a nice way without any major tangenting lines. Once I had my base sketches finished, it was time to move on to the cleaner line work stage. I managed to forget a couple of things during this stage initially. Let me know if you can spot them. That's kind of a hint, actually. I carefully outlined around the bag in the foreground, where Soot Sprite's boots intersect with it, so that it wouldn't look like she was just pasted over top of the scene. For the flat coloring, I referenced the colors I had already used for their designs, but ultimately shifted everything a bit to suit the atmosphere and lighting of the background, giving the colors a warmer and less saturated bent. I kept the shading relatively rough and simple, especially for the characters in the background, which I used a multiply layer on to save time, and also to make them blend into the scene more. I added some shadowing to the background image as well, below where the characters are standing, to make them feel just a bit more like they belong in the room. Overall, I'm quite pleased with how the illustration turned out. I'm sure if I spent more time on it, I could have drawn the characters in the same style as the background, but I think that this multimedia look has its own charm. It's a fun combination of the in-game scenery and my own art style, without looking totally disjointed. Thank you so much for watching this far into the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment below to let me know what you'd like to see next. I plan on making a second part for the Mega Pokémon series in the near future, so please do let me know which of the new Megas you'd like to see for that. And that's all for now!